Dude, he was right. It is fucking boring. Like, holy shit, listening to that quote-unquote sermon.
It was so stupid. It's like that.
Nothing
It's like
religious
that
about it.
moment where you where it's like it reminds me of the stuff that usually happens on Spaces, where I'm sitting here, everything's
Mhm.
fine. We're like, okay, let's bring this person up, and then somebody says some absolute fucking retard shit, and you're like, great.
Yep. Makes you wanna swallow cyanide. Hemlock, in my case. I'll take some hemlock.
What?
I should have like a jar of hemlock, just prepared to deal with like the worst, most stupid fucking person on Spaces and just eat it one day.
By the way, Adrian, do you want to start
Mm.
streaming soon?
Dialect
Yes, I do
Socrates.
actually. In fact, yeah.
Is hemlock a good way to go? Just as a question. I mean, I'm genuinely curious. Is it painful? I'm wondering how Socrates died.
I
What the
understand
fuck?
that it is a little bit painful before you finally go.
Is it?
Yeah, I think like carbon monoxide poisoning or like slow oxygen deprivation is probably like the gentlest way to go because you just kind of pass out. But
Yeah, but it takes too
Yeah.
long,
Oh, for
Sometimes
real?
you just want to consume hemlock when you listen to the stupidest shit ever.
gives you too much time to think about it.
Yeah, exactly. Not great.
Dude, JoJo from Jersey is
I'm like,
having a meltdown, bro.
oh yeah, dude, like I screenshotted some of her posts earlier and I was like, this is insane. She's not even pretending either. She's just nuts. If you think her stuff here is bad, go look at the stuff that she's posting on Blue Ski.
Oh no, no, I gotta. I made a joke the other day to Nancy Bates. I literally told her, I said, I have a mandate: fix JoJo, fix AOC, and fix Harry Sissons.
Harry Sisson is playing a role. Like his posts are inflammatory on
Yeah,
purpose.
yeah,
It's just bait.
yeah. I literally-
He's not that dumb. He's a pretty smart guy. It's just fucking bait.
yeah, no, I literally every time I just reply to, her, I just tell him I'm gonna pray for you, bro. It's so funny, bro.
He's a smart guy. He knows what he's
It's kind
doing.
of
He
like
always knows what he's
it's
doing.
good
He's just
material.
not doing a very good job, but he's doing a good job at not doing one.
It's funny how many liberals agree with him though. That's the scary part. He's baiting conservatives into responding, which is fine because
No,
I
here's
it's
the
funny to
worst
engage
part.
with
It's
him.
the conservatives that respond that are the problem.
They take it too seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, look, here's the thing. You get negative engagement back, then they get a lot of engagement. Then they take a screenshot of their earnings and be like, oh my god, why am I not getting paid anything? Well, guess what? You're actually not as popular as you think you are. Like, this entire time, your media sold you the illusion that you're somehow a majority in your own country, which in reality, by execution, you are not. And I think clearly this is exactly what that looks like. It pans out like that, right? So they have this delusion of being like, oh my god, there should be so many people. Yeah, should, but there weren't. That's why there was a loss, right? That's how that technically pans out.
Yeah.
And then nobody wants to really engage with negativity unless they really want to let one out. And engaging in negativity with that is not really productive at all. You're going to do it a bunch of times, but you're not actually going to get a win in any form. You're not going to get an affirmative win, which is why nobody wants to engage with that whatsoever. You will only ever engage in a conflict like that if you can somehow get an affirmative win out, either because you have a large audience that will agree that you cooked someone, or because the person who you're cooking admit to the fact that you've cooked them. That's it, right? That is literally it. Beyond that, you got nothing.
I think that's the crux. That's the issue with the Krasensteins is they only get negative engagement and they wonder why they don't get paid anything because 90% of the comments are calling them gay or retarded.
Like, look, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Maximizing unregretted user minutes. Do you think pissing people off is going to have the effect of let's have user minutes that are unregretted? No, there's going to be a lot of regretted user minutes, which is why then you get less engagement overall over time. And all of them, it's the same. It's all the fucking same. And all the engagement farmers that were like posting one-liner questions, it's all not working anymore. It's like, remember when I said that shit was going to die a couple of years, like a year ago, actually? Yeah. Less than a year even. I said less than a year ago that all that shit was going to fucking die. You can keep doing it, but you're not going to get anywhere with this.
I kind of miss the threads, the ones where people would offer like stupid tips and guides.
Oh, they still exist. They still exist.
Thread the whole
they
fucking
still
thing.
exist. They're annoying as shit.
They still
Yeah, now
exist?
they do it differently. Here's
they
what they
get
do.
paid
Here's
a
what they
lot?
do. Nigerian Reddit posts is the new meta, by the way. I'm not
Oh,
kidding, though. It's an actual thing.
what?
Nigerian Reddit posts. So here's what they do. They take
Explain.
screenshots from Nigerian Reddit of various things. Like, say, for instance, relationships, right? You have, like, relationship conditions, a story about, like, okay, here, what is the weirdest sexual request that you've ever had, for instance, right? So you go to Nigerian Reddit, they take a few screenshots of, like, the biggest upvoted posts, and then what they do is they post those as threads on this platform. And you know what they do? For the first couple images, like the main post that's carrying the thread, they put a fucking steak ad in there. Because all of those accounts are affiliated with fucking steak.
Oh, of course.
All of them.
Yeah.
There are thousands of them.
So what's the content of the Nigerian post? What makes them so interesting?
But nothing is really making them very interesting. The only thing is that no one really focuses on them much at all. If you are going to take, like, say, an American Reddit post and you post a thread about that, you know, probably people have already seen this meme or, like, seen this thing over there, and it's boring. It's not going to hit right. If you want to see something that you haven't seen before, you got to do that. And it also addresses a very specific region as well. You got to get engagement from those circles also.
Do they get paid a lot? I assume
no, because a lot of their replies are unverified. Actually, as a matter of fact, I think they kind of have a system for posting. I've been observing this for a couple days. They should be posting their threads right about now or in an hour. Like clockwork, basically.
I notice a thing, you know, like there's some like far right, I call them far right, but you know, let's just call them racist posters. They post like this anti-Indian stuff to bait comments from Indian users, right? And Indians get pissed off at them because
and then they take screenshots of that and they repost and be like, wow, you know, kind of their own fault, man.
And then they get more engagement from the Indians. And here's the funny thing. These are the same people who complain about not getting paid a lot. Because guess what? Americans don't care about this stuff. It's racist. It's shitty. They're not going to look at it. The only people responding to it are going to be Indians, and Indians are either unmonetized or, you know, if they are monetized, it seems that, you know, Reddit. I mean, not Reddit. Fucking hell, X. The way it counts your monetization is also kind of based on where you are, right? So if all the people engaging with you are from India or Pakistan, they're not going to be worth as much as an American user because you can't monetize them quite as much. So they're going to be lower value. So even if, you know, 90% of all the people replying have a blue check mark, it's worth less because their blue check mark is a different kind. There's a cheaper version of it. There's a basic, right? Twitter basic or X basic is essentially, you know, $1 a month or something. So they don't get paid very much, right? And then they complain. They'll be like, well, I had 1 million impressions or something. And it's like, well, from whom? Were they American users who are or like high value, or were they, you know, third world users that, I'm not saying they're low value as in persons, but rather their accounts are considered low value because they're not paying the full amount for premium. Yeah. And so, you know, they may have 1 billion views or something, and it doesn't fucking matter because, you know, the engagement is not from quote unquote quality users.
Yeah.
So all of this baiting of racist baiting of, you know, of people living in the third world, it's not really working out for them, and I'm glad it doesn't. Disincentivizes them from, you know, engagement farming angry Indians. Not cool. Not cool. Like, I don't understand the purpose of it. I mean, apart from the engagement farming, which is quite obvious is monetarily driven, but what are they hoping to accomplish? To make people hate Indians?
Yes.
To make Indians hate them? I mean, what's the fucking point of it?
It's that, and also, okay, I want you to look at something very specific, by the way. There's an example that I can point to, which is actually quite fascinating, and it is, so you may be wondering, why do so many of these accounts insist that, you know, the Roman salute is something that it is not, right? Like, why do so many people insist? Well, guess what? They wanted to appear negatively in the German media. See, here's the thing: they can't really connect much of the AfD with the Nazis anymore, so they're gonna have to need a new scapegoat. That's what they're trying to do here. That's what they're going to do. I already know 100% there's going to be some bullshit that's going to come out in a few articles in the next couple days. Like look at the Spiegel and the Bild and all these fucking like pieces of shit magazines. Like that is going to be a thing. That is the idea. That's what I see here. If I am a person who controls the information and the way that everything flows and I wanted to do propaganda, that's how I would do it. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But I hardly am wrong.
This way, yeah. The European Yeah, you have some European politicians speaking out about this quote unquote Nazi salute, right? And they're doing that
You
in
see
order
what's
to
happening?
prevent. Yeah,
There you go.
yeah, they're already doing it. Yeah,
It makes sense. It makes
it's
sense.
sneaky.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's stupid. It's a very shitty thing to do. But then again, it's politicians. What do you expect? Um,
of course.
Actually, it's kind of funny.
I hate these
The
people.
German politics are probably one of the worst. When you look at American politics, this is something I can somewhat understand. There's some hypocrisy and some lies, but there's at least some utility. While in Europe, it's a little bit worse. You get like straight up fucking lies. For instance, there was this one specific person that they wanted to have elected that actually did get elected, and this was at the time of of COVID, where he said, "Oh, if you vote for me, I'm not going to enforce or like put into place any of the vaccine mandates." Literally, the fucking moment this bitch got elected, he did exactly that. Vaccine mandates everywhere.
Bad. Who is this guy, by the way?
I forgot his fucking name, man. This is such forgetful
Which
names.
country?
Germany, of course.
Germany. Oh, okay.
That's why I'm not into their politics as much, because it just pisses me off.
They try to smear AFD as far right as being Nazis. It's just so tedious, And they buy it, like the far left there, which is basically everybody. They just buy it. They just regurgitate these same lies over and over again. They keep using the same, talking point about how they don't want the AFD to take over because they're undemocratic. It's like, what? I mean, you banning their party is
Germany
undemocratic.
fundamentally has a
What the fuck are you
very
talking
large
about?
problem, and the problem is that nobody's like, even if you didn't want to have someone that's very polarizing, if you didn't want to have something that is as polarizing in terms of reputation as the AFD, who else is going to step up? That is the problem. There is nobody else who is willing to actually step up that looks like a good alternative, right? Right now, at the moment, these people look like an actual good alternative, albeit that their methods are sometimes a little bit strange. But that's besides the point, right? That's my own personal criticisms as an individual who I am, right? So with that in mind, there's nobody to step up. There really is none, which is fucked up, which is really telling of the time. So you don't really have that much of an option. And so then you basically have this thing where there's a slogan that goes around, anything but the AFD. They always repeat this, anything but the AFD. That's what they're doing over there in Germany. And it's insane. You talk to the average German, it doesn't seem like this initially, but I gotta tell you, man, a lot of them are fucking turbo liberals and they don't even realize it. They could literally have a problem that surrounds them and they somehow believe it to be their own fault. I'm like, yes, it is actually your own fault, but now are you gonna fucking fix it? No. What the fuck? You're like 50% there. You're 50% there, but you don't taking the rest of you're not taking the other 50% where you say we gotta solve this problem somehow. And the 50% that they want to take to solve the problem is gonna be like a 20 to 25% because they're not gonna go all in because they can't. They're gonna be like, we gotta change ourselves culturally. No.
It's awful.
That's not how that works. You don't change yourself culturally because of that problem, quote unquote, right? That's not how that works. Because look, a country exists in a certain state because the country itself has advanced to a certain point. Right? Why is it advanced to a certain point? Because of its culture. Now, if you're going to bring something else in there, you're going to manipulate the culture and change it fundamentally, then it is no longer the country that made people want to go there in the first place. Now, is it?
No,
it's a big problem also that I see for many other people that immigrate to various places, right? They take a lot of their culture with them and try to enforce it into the location where they are. There's a fundamental problem with this, and the problem is that you have left from one specific place to go to another because of the way that place was or is. So now, why would you do the same things that led to the conditions that made you leave one place? Like, why would you do the same things in the new place, effectively making it the same way, than having you have to leave from that place to somewhere else? You're like fucking locusts. You're going to keep destroying everything. It's like the people in the U.S. that move between states. You have a lot of people that have been in like California. They voted for various certain things. By the way, the only reason why California is fucked up is because people voted for this. People actually voted for this. And the problem is if you vote for it, then of course things are going to happen. So now these people, realizing that they fucked up, not admitting that they fucked up, are going to move away from California and they actually have. Remember when there was like this gigantic exodus? It was kind of fucking hilarious. There was like this exodus of people that then went to different states. They go then to other states and they all vote the same way there. Now, of course, there was one person, I forgot who his name was, but at the time made a very good point. If you go to a certain place like this, you also have to vote a certain way because guess what? The very same ways that you're going to vote and you're going to try and vote somewhere else that caused all the damages, you're going to cause those damages in the new places which you are in. You're not supposed to do that.
That's probably Ron DeSantis. Yeah, Ron DeSantis said something to that effect where he said that if you're going to come to Florida, you got to realize why Florida is as great as it is, why we have the freedoms that we do, right? And it's not because we're voting Democrat; it's because we're voting for Ron DeSantis.
Like you gotta
It's true.
understand the place that you're in. This is like every time, for instance, when I'm about to go to
Yeah.
a certain place where I will have an economic impact, the first thing that I do is read its history because I need to understand what exactly is going on.
Why is
Because
it? Yeah.
otherwise,
Why
I
is it
will do
great?
something that is wrong. It's 100%. It's actually kind of funny because many of the places that I've been, I ended up having a greater historical understanding of the place itself than the very people that that are living in it. Same thing with America, for instance. I'm not an American, and yet somehow I seem to understand a lot more about how America works on various levels than the Americans themselves. What the fuck?
Yeah.
That is incredible, isn't it?
You know, one thing.
Yeah.
One thing that's really cool about living in Dubai, right, is there is a kind of like public campaign where they teach you the values of what makes Dubai great. And if you go to the
Enforces a
Yep.
very specific type of culture. That's what you need at some point. Now, if the propaganda is it's like memes and mind viruses. It's effectively all the same things. We're just using different terms for one and the same thing. You need a very specific meme, right? You need memes. These
Yep.
things are good, right? You need a good meme, then you will have a good time. If you have a shit time, then you're also going to have really hard memes. But then again, those memes are just documenting the fucking
Yeah,
outcomes,
you don't
right?
want to, yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're dealing with mind viruses effectively. Some of the propaganda is a parasitic mind virus, and some of the propaganda that's actually very good is a symbiotic mind virus. There are two different types of mind viruses, or more like three as well. One of which is completely useless because it does effectively nothing. But like the two, which are diametrically opposed from one another, are the one that is parasitic and the one that is symbiotic. Parasitic is something like wokeness, for instance, right? Whatever wokeness then eventually became. That is a parasitic mind virus. It destroys you, right? It destroys the host. It
Yep.
literally does. Look at the people who are affected by this fucking nonsense. It
Designed to destroy the
literally is
host.
destroying their minds.
Yeah.
It is horrible to see. People who would have otherwise, they have whatever position they have in life, be like, oh wow, they're going to now take very specific people with their own sexual interpretations of what they are, and it's like, okay, they're going to destroy their brains with wokeness. These people could have had their sexual orientation either way they wanted. Nobody would have had a problem with that, but the wokeness is the thing that then destroys their minds. Right? Again, like what I said,
Yep.
there was never an issue with anyone who's gay. There was never an issue with any of that. Not from my perspective, anyways. It
Yep.
wasn't even a topic that I cared
No,
about. I was
definitely
like
wasn't.
surprised
It was
sometimes to
dead.
be like, wait, you're actually gay? Yeah, yeah, yeah. And didn't really figure that, but cool. And it doesn't matter. You move on, finish, fucking done. Easy. That's
Exactly.
coexistence,
That
right?
was how it
So
was in
if
the
you now
early
put the fucking
2000s. You
parasitic
found
mind
out some
virus in
person's
there,
gay. Like, who
you're
cares?
finished. Everything's gonna go to hell, right? So that's
Yep.
parasitic mind virus. A symbiotic mind virus is like principles or like this desire to keep going. Like you have a specific mission in mind. You have like a group or something like that. Or you have a country that has a specific set of values and you're trying to enforce those values and it leads to great economic and social prosperity. That
Yeah.
is a symbiotic mind virus. It's a symbiosis, not parasites.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't destroy the host. It makes the host better, stronger, benefits the host. Ukraine stuff, this Mueller wrote account who tried to like organize a massive block campaign against me. By the way, I still remember exactly what you wrote, and I still have the screenshot of the post that you deleted, so you can't say shit about it because I have everything. Now, and also, of course, Vacnick Soup and all the other people, they deleted all of their shit because I turned out to be absolutely fucking wrong. Big surprise, honestly, because hey, if you want to write an expose about somebody just because you blatantly hate someone who actually helped you guys, then sure, cool. Maybe you could reach out to the guy who you're accusing of being an alt and maybe there would be some classification. Oh yeah, that's right, you can't do that because you'd rather want to spread your propaganda than get actual facts because you're not real journalists, you're fake journalists, you're not propagandists, you're not journalists. No matter how hard you shill it to yourselves, right? And I still want to and I will take that back only if you guys apologize. If you apologize, I'll take that back. Whatever I said just now and all the weird shit that I've also said in conjunction with that, I'll take that 100% back if you apologize. And they won't because their ego is too big and their pride is too large. That's whatever it is. I don't care. I don't care, by the way. It doesn't matter either way. But that's an interesting thing, right? So not even that conspiracy theory is consistent anymore because all that shit's been proven wrong. It's made everybody who's harped on this look extremely fucking stupid. So that's gone also. So now nobody knows what's going on. Isn't that amazing?
Oh yes.
The info war has changed. There is no more info. What happens to the info war when there's no more info? There isn't one. It's like whatever the biggest meme is, that's what it really is. That's it. Finished. Done. Finito.
Easy.
All right, I'm gonna have to lock it out from here. I got some stuff to do. I'm not sure if I can still do a stream or if it's too late for that, but we'll see. Anyways, I will see you guys again tomorrow. Thank you all for coming. This is absolutely amazing. By the way, request for anyone who can, in fact, do any edits. That video up there is kind of similar to what we're looking for in terms of titling and such. The end edit part is not something that we really realistically need, but when it comes to, like, you know, clipping the conversation and such, stuff like that would be needed whenever there's a based take which is being dropped. Of course, you know, the conversation will evolve over time to become even more clippable as we are, in fact, just discovering who we are. The conversation space itself has been running for almost a year, actually, yeah, half a year actually at this point. So yeah, stuff is evolving and you can be there early. So if you want to make edits for that, it's going to be good for you because, well, guess what? We need that stuff. Everybody else is looking out for that stuff as well. So you're going to get a lot of engagement from that and get a lot of eyeballs on your work. So if you want to have that, that's how it is. Provide value, you shall receive value. Anyways, thank you all for coming. Make sure to subscribe to me also if you haven't already, because you get chat access to the stream when I do, in fact, you know, have one, because